When people hear the words know your worth, they usually think it's about confidence. They think it's about walking into a room with your head high, speaking loudly, demanding respect. But knowing your worth is deeper than confidence. It's not about pretending you're valuable. It's about understanding at your core that your time, your energy, your focus, and your life are assets, and they are limited. In America, we grow up in a culture that constantly measures us. Grades, followers, salaries, job titles, zip codes, the car you drive, the watch you wear, the school you attended. Everything becomes a scoreboard. And when you live your life staring at scoreboards, you slowly forget something powerful. Your value is not defined by applause. The world will clap for you when you perform, but it will go silent the moment you struggle. So if your worth depends on noise, you'll feel worthless the moment things get quiet. Knowing your worth means you understand who you are even when nobody is watching. It means you don't shrink yourself to fit in rooms that were never built for you. It means you don't over-explain your boundaries. It means you don't beg for opportunities that don't align with your vision. It means you are willing to walk away, even when walking away is uncomfortable. Most people don't struggle with a lack of talent. They struggle with a lack of self-belief. They underprice themselves. They overwork for validation. They stay in toxic relationships because they're afraid of being alone. They stay in jobs that drain their soul because the paycheck feels safer than the unknown. But safety without growth is just slow decay. If you don't know your worth, you will accept less than you deserve in relationships, in business, in friendships, in life. And here's the hard truth. People treat you based on what you tolerate. If you tolerate disrespect, you will get more of it. If you tolerate being overlooked, you'll be overlooked again. If you tolerate being underpaid, you'll stay underpaid. Knowing your worth isn't arrogance. It's awareness. It's understanding that you bring something to the table. Your experiences, your discipline, your perspective, your resilience. No one else has your exact combination of scars and strengths. No one else has survived exactly what you survived. That alone has value. But here's the part most people don't want to hear. Your worth is not automatic in the marketplace. You might have value, but if you don't build skill, discipline, and character, the world won't pay for potential. It pays for performance. So knowing your worth also means doing the work to increase it. You can't just say, I deserve more, while refusing to grow. You can't demand respect while showing up late, unprepared, and inconsistent. You can't expect top-tier results with bottom-tier effort. Self-worth without self-discipline becomes entitlement. Real self-worth says, I am valuable, and I will prove it through action. In the United States, opportunity is everywhere, but so is competition. Millions of people want the same promotions, the same platforms, the same audience attention. If you don't believe in yourself, someone else will outwork you while you doubt yourself. And doubt is expensive. Every time you second-guess your abilities, you hesitate. Every time you hesitate, you miss opportunities. Every missed opportunity compounds over time. Years later, you'll look back and realize you weren't lacking talent. You were lacking conviction. Conviction is built in private. It's built when you wake up early and keep promises to yourself. It's built when you go to the gym even when you're tired. It's built when you say no to distractions that everyone else says yes to. It's built when you invest in your skills instead of just consuming entertainment. When you build discipline, you start to feel different. You walk differently. You speak differently. You negotiate differently. You don't chase, you attract. Because energy changes when standards rise. A person who knows their worth doesn't beg to be chosen. They choose themselves first. That means you stop waiting for someone to give you permission to dream bigger. You stop waiting for validation from friends who secretly don't understand your ambition. You stop shrinking your goals so others feel comfortable around you. Comfort is addictive, but comfort rarely creates greatness. If you look at the people who changed industries, built empires, or transformed their lives, they all reached a moment where they said, I deserve more than this. And instead of complaining, they acted. Knowing your worth requires radical honesty. Ask yourself, are you living below your potential? Are you accepting treatment that contradicts your standards? Are you investing in yourself the way you invest in others? Are you showing up like someone who believes they are valuable? Because your habits reveal your true self-worth. If you constantly sabotage your goals, deep down you might believe you don't deserve success. If you procrastinate on opportunities, maybe you're afraid of proving yourself wrong or right. Self-worth is not loud. It's quiet certainty. It's not about posting motivational quotes. It's about becoming the type of person those quotes describe. In a society that constantly compares, knowing your worth also means staying in your lane. You don't need to compete with everyone. You need to compete with yesterday's version of yourself. Someone will always make more money. Someone will always have more followers. Someone will always seem further ahead. But no one can outwork you in your own life if you decide to take ownership. Ownership is power. The moment you stop blaming your past, your parents, your boss, the economy, your environment, and you say, "It's on me," everything changes. That's when you step into your worth. Because victims wait. Owners build. If you truly understand your value, you won't waste time arguing with people committed to misunderstanding you. You won't chase relationships that only want you when it's convenient. You won't settle for environments that shrink your ambition. You will outgrow people. And that's okay. Growth is lonely before it's respected. There will be seasons where your standards make others uncomfortable. They might call you arrogant. They might say you've changed. They might accuse you of thinking you're better. You are not better than anyone. But you are responsible for becoming the best version of yourself. And that requires standards. So know your worth, but also build it. Protect your time. Protect your focus. Protect your energy. Your life is not a rehearsal. Every hour you waste doubting yourself is an hour someone else uses to level up. And one day, you'll either look back with pride or regret. The difference will come down to one question. Did you truly believe you were worth the effort it took to change your life? Because knowing your worth isn't just about how others treat you. It's about how you treat yourself when no one is watching. If you truly know your worth, you stop negotiating with your standards. Most people don't fail because they aren't capable. They fail because they compromise too early. They lower the bar when things get uncomfortable. They say, "This is good enough," when deep down they know they're capable of better. In the U.S., we live in a culture that glorifies hustle, but also glorifies shortcuts. Overnight success, viral fame, fast money. The problem is, when you chase shortcuts, you start measuring your worth by speed instead of substance. Real value is built slowly. Think about it. The strongest buildings in cities like New York, Chicago, or Los Angeles weren't built overnight. They require deep foundations. And your life is no different. If you want unshakable confidence, it has to be earned. If you want financial freedom, it has to be built. If you want respect, it has to be demonstrated consistently. Knowing your worth means you stop chasing validation and start chasing growth. Validation feels good, but it's temporary. Growth is painful, but it's permanent. A lot of people say they want better opportunities. But when opportunity shows up disguised as hard work, discipline, and sacrifice, they hesitate. They wait. They overthink. And then they watch someone else take the chance. You cannot know your worth and live in fear at the same time. Fear whispers, "What if you fail?" Worth answers, "What if you fly?" Fear says, "You're not ready." Worth says, "You'll figure it out." Fear says, "Stay where it's safe." Worth says, "Safe is slowly killing your potential." The uncomfortable truth is this. Many people secretly don't believe they deserve success. So when things start going well, they sabotage it. They procrastinate. They pick fights. They miss deadlines. They quit early. Why? Because success demands responsibility, and responsibility exposes your habits. If you know you're worth more, your habits must reflect it. You can't say you deserve a six-figure income while spending hours scrolling social media. You can't say you deserve a healthy relationship while avoiding hard conversations. You can't say you deserve elite results with average effort. Your results are a mirror. They reflect your consistency, your discipline, and your standards. Knowing your worth also means understanding your time is non-refundable. Every day in America, millions of people trade hours for dollars. There's nothing wrong with working hard. But if you're not building skills, not expanding your network, not investing in your growth, you're just renting your life out instead of owning it. And ownership changes everything. When you see yourself as an asset, you invest in yourself differently. You read more. You train harder. You speak up in meetings. You apply for the promotion. You start the business. You take the calculated risk. Because you understand something powerful. Staying the same is more dangerous than trying and failing. People who don't know their worth stay in rooms where they are tolerated instead of celebrated. They laugh at jokes that disrespect them. They accept backhanded compliments. They allow people to cross lines because they don't want to seem difficult. But protecting your peace is not being difficult. Raising your standards is not being arrogant. Demanding respect is not being entitled. It's alignment. Alignment between who you are and how you allow the world to treat you. And here's something most people don't talk about. Knowing your worth will cost you. It will cost you certain friendships. It will cost you comfort. It will cost you environments where you once felt familiar. When you level up, not everyone can come with you. Some people are committed to the version of you that was smaller, quieter, less ambitious. The moment you grow, you remind them of what they're not doing, and that can create tension. But growth isn't betrayal. Staying small to make others comfortable is. In a competitive environment like the U.S., where industries evolve fast and trends shift overnight, the people who win long-term are those who continuously upgrade themselves. They don't cling to old identities. They reinvent. They adapt. They learn new skills. They pivot when necessary. Knowing your worth means you don't tie your identity to one failure. You lost a job? That's an event, not your identity. A business failed? That's feedback, not your worth. A relationship ended? That's redirection, not rejection. Your worth is internal. Outcomes are external. And when you separate the two, you become dangerous in the best way. Because now you're free to try without attaching your identity to every result. Free to take bold action. Free to speak your truth. Free to build without begging for approval. Here's another truth. If you don't define your value, the market will define it for you. Your employer will pay you based on what you accept. Your audience will engage based on what you tolerate. Your relationships will function based on what you allow. So raise your internal standard. Decide what kind of life you're building. Decide what kind of partner you want to be. Decide what kind of professional you're becoming. Decide what kind of reputation you're earning. And then act accordingly. Because confidence without action is delusion. But confidence backed by discipline? That's power. You don't need to be the loudest person in the room. You don't need to constantly announce your goals. Let your preparation speak. Let your work ethic speak. Let your consistency speak. A person who knows their worth doesn't chase every opportunity. They evaluate. They ask, does this align with my vision? Does this respect my time? Does this move me forward? If the answer is no, they walk away. Even if it's tempting. Even if it's popular. Even if everyone else says it's a great opportunity. Not every opportunity is meant for you. And knowing your worth means trusting your intuition enough to say no. At the end of the day, your life will reflect what you believe about yourself. If you believe you're average, you'll make average decisions. If you believe you're capable of greatness, you'll take uncomfortable steps toward it. So stop waiting for someone to crown you. Stop waiting for perfect timing. Stop waiting for unanimous support. Choose yourself. Invest in yourself. Discipline yourself. Respect yourself. Because the world rarely gives you what you deserve. It gives you what you demonstrate you're willing to work for and what you refuse to settle for. There comes a moment in your life when you have to make a decision. Are you going to keep living based on other people's expectations? Or are you finally going to live based on your own standards? Knowing your worth requires courage, not surface-level confidence, not motivational quotes. Real courage, the kind that forces you to confront the areas of your life where you've been settling. Maybe you've been playing small at work. You know you're capable of leading projects, speaking up in meetings, asking for a raise, but you stay quiet. Maybe you've been staying in a relationship that feels comfortable but not aligned. Maybe you've been telling yourself you'll chase your dream once things calm down. Here's the truth. Things rarely calm down. Life doesn't suddenly get easier. You get stronger. In America, competition is everywhere. Whether corporate spaces, entrepreneurship, sports, or content creation, you are surrounded by driven, hungry people. If you don't believe in your value, you will constantly compare yourself and feel behind. Comparison is is the fastest way to forget your worth. There will always be someone younger making more money, someone with a bigger platform, someone who seems further ahead. But what you don't see is their sacrifices, their failures, their sleepless nights. You're comparing your behind the scenes to their highlight reel. And that's a losing game. When you know your worth, you stop competing with strangers and start competing with your former self. You ask better questions. Am I more disciplined than last year? Am I more skilled than 6 months ago? Am I handling pressure better than I used to? Growth becomes personal. And personal growth is powerful because it's within your control. One of the biggest signs that someone doesn't know their worth is constant approval seeking. They post for validation. They speak to impress. They make decisions based on what will look good instead of what feels right. But approval is addictive. The more you chase it, the more you need it. When you build internal validation, everything changes. You don't need everyone to agree with you. You don't need constant reassurance. You know the work you're putting in. You know the sacrifices you're making. You know the direction you're heading. That quiet confidence is dangerous, in a good way, because now you move with intention. You don't waste energy arguing with people who misunderstand you. You don't over-explain your ambition. You don't shrink your goals so others feel comfortable. There will be people who say you've changed, and they're right. You have to change if you want different results. Growth demands separation. Not everyone who started with you is meant to finish with you. That doesn't make you disloyal. It means your vision expanded, and vision is directly connected to worth. If you see yourself as average, you'll create an average life. If you see yourself as capable of greatness, you'll start making uncomfortable decisions that align with that belief. Knowing your worth also means forgiving yourself for past mistakes. A lot of people carry guilt. They replay failures. They attach their identity to bad decisions. I messed up turns into I am a mess. And that mindset limits future action. You are not your worst mistake. You are not your lowest moment. Those were chapters, not the whole book. When you understand that, you stop punishing yourself by playing small. You stop saying, I don't deserve success because of what I did. Instead, you say, I learned, I grew, now I move forward. Forward motion is powerful. Another reality, your environment either reinforces your worth or weakens it. If you constantly surround yourself with negativity, excuses, and small thinking, it will affect you. Energy transfers. Standards spread. Mindsets are contagious. That's why knowing your worth sometimes requires changing your circle. Find people who challenge you. Find people who hold you accountable. Find people who are building, not just complaining. In cities across the U.S., there are rooms full of ambitious individuals leveling up daily. The difference between those who stay stuck and those who rise often comes down to proximity. Who are you around? What conversations are you having? What expectations are normal in your circle? If average effort is praised in your environment, you'll unconsciously lower your standards. But if excellence is normal, you'll rise to match it. Knowing your worth also means understanding that rest is not weakness. Grinding 24/7 without purpose leads to burnout, not greatness. Valuing yourself includes protecting your mental health, your physical body, and your focus. You are an asset, and assets require maintenance. Sleep matters. Nutrition matters. Clarity matters. You can't build a powerful future with a constantly exhausted mind. At the same time, don't confuse rest with avoidance. There's a difference between recharging and running from responsibility. When you truly value yourself, you push when it's time to push and pause when it's time to pause strategically. Strategy is maturity. Maturity is growth, and growth reinforces worth. Here's something else. If you don't define success for yourself, society will define it for you. You will chase titles you don't even want. You'll pursue lifestyles that look impressive online, but feel empty in real life. What does success actually mean to you? Freedom? Impact? Financial security? Creative control? Family time? Clarity protects you from chasing the wrong goals. Because achieving something that doesn't align with your values can feel like failure. When you know your worth, you design your life intentionally. You set goals that match your values. You measure progress based on alignment, not just applause. You stop asking, what will people think, and start asking, does this move me closer to who I want to become? At the end of the day, your worth is not something the world hands to you. It's something you recognize, cultivate, and defend. It's built through discipline, strengthened through adversity, proven through action. And once you truly internalize it, you move differently, you speak differently, you decide differently, you tolerate less, you demand more from yourself first, because deep down you understand something powerful. You are responsible for the standard of your life. And once you accept that responsibility, average is no longer acceptable, and excuses no longer fit the person you're becoming. At the end of it all, knowing your worth comes down to one decision. Will you live by default, or will you live by design? No one is coming to rescue you. No one is going to hand you confidence, discipline, or success. You build it, day by day, choice by choice. When you know your worth, you stop settling for average habits. You stop tolerating disrespect. You stop shrinking your dreams to fit small rooms. You understand that your time is limited, your potential is real, and your future depends on what you do now. It's not about ego. It's about responsibility. Raise your standards. Honor your word. Invest in your growth. Protect your energy. And most importantly, act like the person you say you want to become, because the world will adjust to the level of belief you have in yourself. So believe bigger. Move smarter. Work harder. And never forget, you are worth the effort it takes to build an extraordinary life.